The moon cast long shadows across the playroom floor. To the world, it was just a quiet room filled with silent toys. But when the last light in the house blinked out, a special kind of magic began. First, an eye twitched open. It belonged to Barnaby, a teddy bear whose fur was worn in patches from years of loving hugs. He was the unspoken leader of the toy community. He sat up, his button eyes scanning the room. A tiny red light blinked in the corner. "Zorp, are you operational?" Barnaby's voice was a soft, gravelly whisper. From the shadows, a small robot whirred to life. Zorp, a marvel of chrome and circuits, extended his telescopic legs. "Affirmative, Commander Barnaby. All systems go. Internal chronometer indicates it is 0100 hours. Prime time for Operation Cookie Jar." Zorp's voice was a series of synthesized beeps and boops. But to the toys, it was perfect English. Barnaby chuckled. "Easy there, Zorpy. It's not a military operation. It's a snack run. But your enthusiasm is appreciated." He stood up and brushed some dust from his tummy. "All right, team, gather round." From the dollhouse, a porcelain doll named Lily glided out, her silk dress rustling. From the toy chest, a team of green plastic army men, led by Sergeant Stryker, marched in perfect formation. A brightly colored Jack-in-a-Box, who simply went by Jack, bounced over by his springy body wobbling with excitement. "Listen up, everyone," Barnaby began, his voice taking on a more serious tone. "Tonight's objective is the kitchen. The target, freshly baked chocolate chip cookies located on the top shelf of the pantry, Zorp, has conducted the reconnaissance." Zorp's chest plate projected a holographic map of the house onto the floor. A red dotted line snaked from the playroom down the hall and into the kitchen. "Obstacles are numerous," Zorp announced. "First, the hallway. It's a vast open space. We've dubbed it the Long Creek due to the treacherous floorboards. Second, the house cat, Chairman Meow. He is a formidable, furry obstacle. Last known position, sleeping on the living room sofa. We must maintain absolute stealth." Sergeant Stryker stepped forward. "My men are ready, sir. We can secure the perimeter and provide cover." "Excellent, Sergeant," Barnaby nodded. "Lily, your grace and quietness will be key. Jack, you're our wild card. Your spring might come in handy for reaching high places. Zorp, you'll be on point, disabling any electronic threats." And so the mission began. They moved out of the playroom in a single file line, a silent procession of plastic, plush, and metal. The hallway was even more daunting up close. Each step was a gamble. Sergeant Stryker sent his men ahead, tapping the floorboards to find the quietest path. They communicated with a series of silent hand signals, guiding the larger toys across the perilous wooden sea. Suddenly, a loud snore echoed from the living room. Everyone froze. Peeking around the corner, they saw Chairman Meow, a huge ginger cat, twitching in his sleep. "He's dreaming," Lily whispered. "Probably of catching mice." "Or toys," Zorp beeped ominously. They tiptoed past, holding their breath until they were safely on the cool tile of the kitchen. The room was a land of giants. The refrigerator hummed like a sleeping beast, and the counters towered above them like cliffs. The sweet smell of chocolate was in the air. Pulling them forward, the objective is in sight, Zorp confirmed, pointing a tiny laser at the pantry door. The door was slightly ajar. "Easy part's over," Barnaby muttered. Now for the climb. The pantry was like a mountain. Shelves of canned goods, cereal boxes, and pasta bags rose into the darkness. The cookie jar was on the very top shelf, a ceramic lighthouse in a sea of food. "Sergeant, we need a grappling line," Barnaby commanded. The plastic soldiers sprang into action. One of them had a spool of dental floss. Tying it to a plastic hook, they aimed for the handle of a bag of sugar on a lower shelf. It took 3 tries, but finally the hook caught. The soldiers swarmed up the floss, securing a stronger line for the others. Barnaby, being fluffy and light, climbed with surprising agility. Lily seemed to float up, her porcelain hands finding easy grips. Zorp used his suction cup feet to walk straight up the pantry door. The final challenge was a 5-foot vertical climb from the top shelf to the cookie jar. "This is my moment," Jack exclaimed. He coiled his body down, compressing his spring. "Ready, set." With a loud bowing, he shot upwards. His hands scrabbled at the top shelf and missed. He came tumbling down, landing in a bag of flour with a soft poof. He emerged a moment later, completely white. "Plan B," Barnaby sighed. "Zorp, can you reach it?" Zorp extended his robotic arm. It stretched and stretched and stretched. His metallic fingers were inches away from the lid. Maximum extension reached. He buzzed, his motors straining. "Cannot complete objective." Just then, they heard a soft jingle. A set of keys, left hanging on a hook inside the pantry, swayed gently. Lily had an idea. She climbed to the keys, unhooked them, and with a delicate swing, tossed them perfectly. The keyring looped over the handle of the cookie jar lid. "Brilliant, Lily." Barnaby praised. "Now pull together." They all grabbed the keychain and heaved. The heavy ceramic lid lifted, then slid off, clattering onto a bag of marshmallows with a soft thud. The glorious smell of warm chocolate chip cookies filled the air. Success Zorp used his grabber arm to carefully lower one cookie, then another, down to the waiting toys. They broke off small pieces, savoring the sweet, melty chocolate. It was a feast fit for heroes. Their celebration was cut short by a faint creak from the hallway. "Chairman Meow," Zorp whispered, his sensors flashing red. "He's awake." Panic set in. "Everyone, move." "Back to the playroom, now," Barnaby ordered. It was a mad scramble down the pantry. Jack, still covered in flour, left a trail of white powder behind them. They raced across the kitchen floor just as the giant cat padded into the room. He sniffed the air, his nose twitching at the smell of cookies and the faint trail of flour. He followed it to the pantry, his eyes wide with curiosity. The toys didn't look back. They scurried down the hall, their hearts pounding. They tumbled back into the playroom just as the first rays of dawn peeked through the window. They scrambled back to their original positions as the house began to stir. Barnaby settled back into his spot, looking just like a normal, inanimate teddy bear. Zorb powered down, his red light blinking off. By the time their child owner walked into the room, everything was perfectly still. But if you looked closely, you might have seen a few cookie crumbs on Barnaby's fur, and a faint dusting of flour on a little robot in the corner. Another successful mission was complete, and they'd be ready for the next adventure when night fell again. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more toy stories.